Greetings fellow ukuleleans, Jeff Weinberger coming at you here with a new ukulele tutorial. I'd like to introduce my new book. I have a book out, started yesterday actually when I published it, and it's 16 right-hand studies by Francisco Tarrega, adapted to ukulele. And he wrote a lot of music for guitar, a lot of studies, a lot of etudes, and then he wrote some concert pieces too, some really, well-known, very difficult and virtuoso level concert pieces. But he wrote this series of right-hand studies that was really interesting. It, of course, was for guitar, but I adapted it to ukulele. And what's interesting about them is it starts easy and it gets harder and harder, and by the end, by the 16th study, they're pretty hard. They're a little bit awkward, but they use all open strings on the guitar, and so I decided to be pure to that. And in my book, I took the 16 studies and used only open strings, but then I have a few examples of my own where I just wrote little chord progressions to go with them so you could hear it in a real live situation. That first chord progression I did, that might not be in the book, but I'll show it to you. It was G minor, and I do tend to finger my G minor differently than some of you might. I do it 0, 2, 3, 1 with my pinky doing the 3. Although it's possible to do it with your third finger, to do second finger, third finger, first finger. That's the traditional way. I do it with my pinky just because the next chord I had in mind was E flat, and it's an easier transition. I can leave my pinky down to get to that E flat. By the way, E flat is 0, 3, 3, 1. So that's why you see me doing my G minor in a kind of a weird way. That just facilitates the chord change. And then to get to the next chord, which is D, I just slide my E flat down. So this kind of keeps your pinky on the E string the whole time. You never have to lift it. And that, by the way, that D chord I did was, I don't do anything on the G string, so it's an X. But then you have 2, 2, 0, little D chord. So the pattern itself, let me show it to you. There's 16 of these patterns, but this is pattern number 1. This is the very first one that appears in Tarrega's studies, and the very first one that appears in my book. So what we're doing is we're pinching with our thumb and first finger of our right hand. We're pinching the C and E strings. That's the first step. And then you come in with your index finger. So it was your thumb and your middle pinching, and your index finger doing only the E string by itself. But be sure to keep your C string ringing. Even though it is the E string by itself, you want to leave the chord fingered and let everything ring. You want as campanella and ringing a sound as you can get out of these. That's kind of the nature of when you play arpeggios like this on the guitar, on the ukulele. You want it to have a nice ringing sort of sound. You don't want everything to be short, but you actually want it to be long. So yeah, thumb and middle together, index separate, and then we plop down to our A string. And there we're playing just the A string open, or in this case with a G minor chord you have first fret of your A string, and you're doing middle, index. It's a repeated note. It's the same note twice. So thumb and middle together, index, middle, index. That is a great pattern to practice. If you are new to fingerstyle ukulele, I think something like that you could probably handle. That wouldn't be too terribly hard. Here it is with open strings. This is the way it would be closer to the Tarrega version, where he used open strings on the guitar. See that? How my right hand's doing the same stuff, but my left hand's not doing anything. It's taking a break here because we don't need any chord. That is a chord. When you play your first 3 strings open, that can be considered a C6 chord. That could be considered an A minor chord. So there's a couple of ways to think about what that is, but it's really just open strings. So again, with open strings, as it appears in the book on the first page of studies, here it is super slow for you. And we're counting 1 and 2, and I intended for that to be eighth notes. Later in the book there will be triplets. There'll be a few studies that use triplets, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. But this one is based on eighth notes, just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. just a couple tips about the right hand, some general rules, and that's you want your thumb to be ahead of your index finger, or all your fingers actually. So by ahead I mean it's closer to the neck, and your fingers are back here closer to the bridge. This is a traditional classical guitar posture that you would have, and that really works well for these studies. You kind of don't want to turn that around. I know there's a couple of traditions of ukulele playing where your thumb is back here and your fingers are here. A lot of Hawaiians play this way. A lot of really, really good Hawaiians that play ukulele, some of the best ukulele players in the world. You see their fingers look like that. But we're not doing that style. This is a very different style. This is more romantic era classical guitar, which you want to look more like that. Thumb ahead, fingers back. We are trying to use the very tip of our finger, or if you have nails, which I don't right now. I have a nice thumbnail, but my other nails, I just can't grow them very well, so I don't even try. But you want to use the very tip of your finger. Skin, if you've got it, nails, if you've got it, or any combination of those. You get, of course, a mellower sound with the skin, kind of a full, mellow sound, and you get a very bright sound with the little bit of nails that I have. You can hear that's louder, brighter. It's almost like playing with a guitar pick. It's very percussive. So whatever you find to be the most appropriate sound, I think you should probably do both. You should try to do just skin, just nails, or even do skin and nails. Experiment. So we're trying to move our right hand as little as possible when we do this. See that? I'm not going and bouncing my hand. I'm not really moving my hand at all. It's all about the fingers. The fingers flexing and extending, not moving your hand. It's not necessary to do that. And there's not a whole lot of elbow or shoulder involved in this. It's not strumming. It's finger picking or finger style. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what your hand should look like when you do these. You don't want a real heavy bend in your wrist. That constricts your tendons, and that's just no good to have too much of a bend. That would be very uncomfortable and not make for smooth playing. Nor do you want your wrist perfectly straight, or else you're in kind of a weird position that wouldn't be conducive. You do want to reach down for the strings like this. And you do want your thumb to be parallel to the strings like that. But you don't want an extreme bend in your wrist. That would, like I said, not be conducive to playing and possibly cause tendon problems. It would cause some issues. So you don't want to do that. That's bad. This is not great either. Approaching the strings from behind like this. You kind of want to get somewhere in between those two. You'll find it. You'll find the perfect place where not only does it sound good, but you're relaxed and it's easy to play. So again, that's study 1 from my new book. We have and then I give in the book tons of chord progressions. I give you suggested chord progressions that if you wanted to do this with a C chord and a G7 chord, or a C minor chord and an F minor chord, or any combination, you can. It's perfectly okay to take these, and I encourage you to experiment and do them with lots of different chords. So I'll leave a link down below to Amazon where you can get the book. It's available for $7.95 for the print book, and it's available for $4.95 as the ebook. And that's right on Amazon. I will eventually have this on my website. My website has been in a constant state of construction, and I will eventually get it, so it's kind of a little more stable and easy for you guys to find what you're looking for on my website. But until then, just go to the link down below to Amazon. All right, ukuleleans, I wish you a very happy New Year, and I encourage you to subscribe, like this video, click the notify bell, and look out for some more on my Tarrega etudes for the right hand and adapted to ukulele. I'll give you lots more about this. This is just the first one. All right, fellow ukuleleans, you take care. Bye-bye.